RFK has committed to making you healthy again. With this tall order, he has banned many different foods and ingredients. And so in this video, I'm gonna go through this controversial list of ingredients that RFK no longer wants in your food and discuss each one of them in the foods that you typically find them in. So stick around to the end because this will have a big impact on your health and well-being. But before we get started, I'm Dr. Nick Zyrowski, and if you like this kind of information, I run a natural health community called Health Club. I'll put a link in the description below. So if you're somebody who likes staying on the razor's edge of natural health and you love hearing the clinical tips that someone like myself as a clinician uses every day in order to keep people healthy naturally, then you're going to want to be a part of Health Club. So click on the link in the description below, and I look forward to seeing you there. Now, let's go ahead and jump into these ingredients. One of the first ingredients that they want removed from the food supply is going to be artificial food dyes. RFK seeks to ban dyes such as red 3, red 40, yellow 5, yellow 6, blue 1, known to appear in cereals very often, such as Lucky Charms, snack foods like Cheetos, and also beverages such as Gatorade, which are considered to be healthy for some reason, you know, and typically even when you go and you get the cereals such as Lucky Charms, it probably has a heart healthy label on it, which is hilarious, but also frightening. Okay. Now here's the thing about these artificial dyes is that these are chemically based dyes, and they are associated with behavioral issues in children, such as hyperactivity. And most people who pull this out of their children's diet can actually notice that their behavior improves. Now, they are also known to have a carcinogenic effect. Okay, so here's the honest conversation about food dyes, is that they're chemically based. Biologically, us as humans are very attracted to bright foods because the bright foods are the ones that are typically very nutrient dense, such as your blueberries, your strawberries, your bell peppers. You know, these are all going to be foods that are micronutrient dense that are also going to attract us. So food companies know that by using these artificial dyes, not only does it attract children to want to consume them, but it also attracts every person. And the fact is that these artificial dyes can all be just totally removed from our food system, and we can use natural food dyes, which work just as well. Fact is here is that artificial dyes are cheap. That's why they're also used, because if you had to use the natural food dyes, you'd be spending more money on the food and you'd have less profits. Now, I think one of the things that's important to understand here is that when we talk about this topic being controversial, it shouldn't be controversial at all. One of the dishonest things that always happens is that people have their political agendas, and it's, you know, been interesting to me to watch so many social media doctors take to their platforms and just yell about how this is ridiculous and these ingredients really aren't that bad and that what pharma is doing really isn't that bad, and of course, everything RFK is doing is wrong. I think that's a wildly dishonest conversation because as they complain about what RFK is doing, they also stand by to and watch the most pharmaceutical, disease-ridden, obese population that's ever existed in human history sit there and suffer and struggle, and they say nothing about it. Okay, we see cancers on the rise, we see heart disease on the rise, we see metabolic disorders such as high cholesterol, high blood sugar, fatty liver, high blood pressure. All of these things are chronically on the rise, and all of these people who get so up in arms about the fact that we should maybe pull some of these questionable ingredients out of our food supply, they stand by and they watch that all happen as you suffer in your home, not knowing what's good, what's bad, what to believe, and you struggle. So here's the thing, is that whenever we look at the health of the population, I think that we have to look at it in an absolute way, right? Take politics out of it, take profit motives out of it, take egos out of it, take bad science out of it. What do we end up with? What is going to serve the population? And I actually do believe, and you can put in the comments below if you disagree with me on this, I do believe this is a good move for the general health of the population. And I think that we should be open to moves like this because when you're watching so many people struggle and you're watching the general health of the population decline, I think you have to be open to shaking things up and making some better choices. Next ingredient on our list is titanium dioxide. This is typically a whitening agent, and it is linked to cancer risk, okay? It's found in candies, chewing gum, processed cheese, salad dressing, and a lot of different baked goods. So that is on the chopping block, along with artificial sweeteners. You're gonna find aspartame, sucralose, and also saccharin being some of the most popular ones that people are consuming. Typically, you are going to find these in a lot of diet drinks or just 0-calorie drinks. You know, if you see a 0-calorie drink and it tastes really good, look through the ingredient list because it probably has one of these different artificial sweeteners in it. And so when you think of sodas, energy drinks, a lot of sugar-free gum, and also low-calorie snacks loaded with this stuff. And the fact is that it's been associated with cancer, metabolic disorder, and if you look at an ingredient like sucralose, it's actually been linked to damaging of your DNA. Okay, once again, if we pull these out and we start using the more natural versions of these, I think we'd be healthier for it. Stevia, monk fruit, allulose, lots of options out there, and they of course are found in nature. They're not chemicals that were made in a lab somewhere. Now, we also have brominated vegetable oil, which is on the chopping block. This is typically going to be found in citrus flavored soft drinks and a lot of different sport beverages. It's for the purpose of keeping the flavor uniformly distributed. You know, a lot of the reasons that food will sit on a shelf forever, and you know, recently maybe you saw the video where I did where I had a loaf of bread that I bought as a prop that I was going to keep for doing a video that I never ended up doing. That prop, that bread, sat in my office for almost a month and it looked as good as the day I bought it. And then after that, I was like, I actually just want to keep this loaf of bread around and see what happens. And it just never went bad. Eventually, I just didn't want the bread in my office anymore, so I threw it away. But fact is that there's so many ingredients to make things shelf stable and look good and fluffy when it comes to the bread. We put so many different ingredients that are actually very bad for us, but they change the appearance or the stability of that food, and we put it in despite the fact that it's not serving us well. So anyway, brominated vegetable oils on the chopping block, along with seed oils. Now, seed oils has been an argument for many years. Once again, it's not necessary to consume them. So if it's not necessary, why don't we just go to the healthier version if this particular ingredient is questionable? So Kennedy has vocally opposed the use of these industrial seed oils in a lot of processed foods. You're going to typically see them in fried foods. If you ever go out to a restaurant, almost guarantee that it's fried in these canola oils, these sunflower oils, and these types of oils, which are not healthy for you. And there is claim that there is going to be some health issues that it causes for you. One is going to be that it leads to obesity, metabolic disorder, and also inflammation in the body, which long-term can cause inflammation at a cellular level and even cause cognitive changes in your ability to focus and think clearly. So anyway, with these seed oils, they're on the chopping block. And once again, there's no reason we can't switch to frying with oils such as tallow, avocado oil, and also coconut oil. These are all great oils that hold high temperatures that you could totally fry with. And of course, beyond that, there's olive oil, which is super healthy if you're not frying or heating it up. We have butter. There's so many good options out there. We don't need the unhealthy stuff. Now, this next one isn't necessarily an ingredient that you're going to find in food, but it is found in our drinking water, and that's fluoride. So RFK wants to remove the fluoride from our drinking water, and he is suggesting that it's causing a neurological impact on not only children, but also chronic effects on adults, okay? So from a children perspective, neurodevelopmental issues, but also long-term issues, it could cause neurological issues in adults. And the big argument is always, well, you know, if you're consuming this, it's found to be completely healthy. But when you're microdosing a toxin over the course of 30, 40, 50 years, nobody knows what the health outcome is. So therefore, if it's questionable, we shouldn't look at it from the standpoint of, well, this guy had 3 glasses of water and it had a little bit of fluoride in it. Did it hurt him? No, we have to look at the microdosing of toxins in our food supply over the course of 10, 20, 30, 40, and beyond years. And this is how we'll, of course, know how it will have long-term effects on us. But the fact is these studies don't really exist. So this is the trouble with it. Next ingredient on the chopping block is going to be high fructose corn syrup. This is very famously put in sodas, sweetened yogurts, cookies, salad dressings. I mean, everything. It's in everything anymore, it seems. And if you don't know about high fructose corn syrup, basically it's going to be this sweetener that is processed differently in the body. It's very heavy on the liver and very likely to cause obesity, high blood sugar issues, fatty liver, and just really put a lot of stress on your liver. And so interestingly enough, you know, obviously we can look at sugar in general. It's not healthy for the body, but high fructose corn syrup, if you're consuming that regularly, you're actually far worse off. You saw they made the big change in Coca-Cola and they moved from high fructose corn syrup to just regular sugar. Now, I mean, I think that is a positive mood, but I hate to break anybody's hearts out there. Coca-Cola is still not healthy. It is still a tremendous dose of sugar. It still has caramel coloring in it and all the other things you don't want to consume. So unfortunately, it really didn't make it something healthy as some people would make you believe, but definitely pull out the high fructose corn syrup from the diet, and that's what RFK wants to do. And then the next one is glyphosate residue. This one's very interesting and something I'm quite passionate about getting out of our system. Glyphosate is an herbicide that is found in many foods, such as oats, wheat, so your breads, your pastas, corn, soybean snacks, granola bars, almond butter, chickpeas, your berries, your fruit. I mean, it's on everything. And glyphosate is nasty. It's linked to lymphoma and cancer. And I will tell you, as somebody who is very familiar with farming practices and lives in a farming community, glyphosate is just covering everything. I mean, they cover the ground with it. They cover the plants with it. I mean, it is used so heavily in any type of these agricultural areas that it's concerning, especially when you look at microdosing this toxin for a long period of time. I mentioned colon cancer being on the rise, and it's just like colon cancer is on the rise, and you know, of course, nobody knows why, but maybe a good place to look would be the glyphosate residue on all of our food supply. And the fact is too, is that this comes down to microdosing this toxin every single day. What is the long-term impact? When they looked at the glyphosate, they say, well, when humans come in contact with it in small amounts, they just flush it out of their system. It's no big deal. Whereas like we know in larger amounts, if you are spraying weed killer all the time or live on a golf course, like the larger amounts certainly are linked to cancer and proven to be linked to things like lymphoma. But the fact is that we don't know what microdosing glyphosate every single day and every single meal does to us. And we know it's not good. We know that much, but we just don't have the studies, which I don't think we need to wait for studies. I think common sense tells us this is not something that we want on our food supply, getting into our groundwater and our water supply and poisoning us every single day. So as a whole, put your thoughts down in the description below. For me, I am all for this stuff. I've watched people suffer for so many years, and this is something that needs to happen. We need healthier food, right? We can have the discussion about pharmaceuticals and all these other things, but the fact is that it all starts with healthy food. If we can eat healthy food and we can exercise every day, 90% of healthcare problems go away. So a lot of the arguments that happen in healthcare about the spending and how much it costs and everything else dramatically becomes lesser and lesser of a conversation of worry when you start truly solving the health problems at the root cause, and the food supply is right there as the big one. I'm Dr. Zyrowski. Hope you enjoyed this video. Put your thoughts in the comments below, and if you like this video, watch this one next.